Thanks, guys. Man, what a warm welcome. Thanks, Money, for your wonderful leading us in worship. Guys, I want to tell you about one of my first jobs. When I was 17, I was a senior in high school, and I worked at Burger King. And those of you in the know, we affectionately referred to it as the BK Lounge. Now, so BK Lounge, right? Me and one of my good friends, Crystal, maybe you guys know, I've talked about her before. I met her at Burger King. We were known as the Dream Team because, well, we are awesome, but we were so fast on the drive-thru, and so nobody could keep the time down. You had to keep it under 30 seconds from the moment that they pulled up, said their order, and by the time they came, paid, and got them out the door, it had to be 30 seconds. And Crystal and I, we were the Dream Team. Did it every time, right? Because we were awesome. So Crystal and I, one busy Saturday afternoon, we are there in the drive-thru. Lunch rush has just come through, right? Those of you that work maybe in food services, you know, like after lunch or dinner, like then there's kind of a lull, right? Most of you are not eating lunch at 3 o'clock, most of you. So Crystal and I are doing our job. We are, filling up cups and straws and just cleaning up the area, right? Just working, talking. And I don't quite remember exactly what we were talking about. But what I do remember is my assistant manager comes up and he just kind of interjects in our conversation. And now, mind you, we are not talking about anything that he's about to say, but just out of the blue, I will never forget. He walks up, he kind of leans on our station, and he looks at me, and he's like, Christi, you know what? And I'm like, what? He goes, you're going to be a chubby mom. I'm sorry, did I hear that correct? Did he just call me? I'm 17, guys. And now at 17, let me just paint the picture a little bit for you. I was a tiny teenager. And just to give you a little bit of reference, I was the tiniest of the workers at Burger King. So why did he single me out? Also, let me paint the picture a little bit more and tell you, Jim was like mid-30s, balding, and not skinny. He was the opposite of skinny. I was like, I'm 17. I'm not thinking about about children, number one, or what I'm going to look like if I ever have children. Because at 17, guys, I didn't even know if I wanted kids at that point. Sorry, kids, I'm super glad for you now. But at 17, that was not where my brain was. I wasn't thinking about kids or marriage or anything. So I was like, what on earth? Still to this day, I have literally no idea why he said that. But it's been a minute since I was 17, right? It's still in my brain. It's still stuck there. Now, I'm not up here to tell you my fitness journey and that actually there was a day when I looked at a picture of me after I just had my third child, and I was like, oh, that dum-dum is right. I am a chubby mom. Anyway, that's not what I'm here to tell you. I'm here to tell you that it's stuck. And I was speaking with some sweet little old ladies this past week at Bible study. We just so happened to be talking about the power of our words as women. And these sweet little old ladies in their 70s are talking to me about something that someone said when they were a teenager or even grade school. I could probably go around to every single adult in the room, and they would probably have something that somebody said that has stuck with them for years and years and years. I mean, decades. These little old ladies remembers something that one person said mean about them on the playground. Words stick. The verse that we've been using for our entire series, Luke 6:45. It says, the good person out of the good treasure of his heart produces good, and the evil person out of the evil treasures produces evil. For out of the abundance of the heart, his mouth speaks. So this week, I get to talk about criticism. And we're going to talk about how it reveals what's going on in our hearts and how damaging our words can be. Now, I was talking with a sweet friend, and she was telling me a story about her sweet child. She was telling me that her son was down the street playing with some neighborhood kids, playing a game of kickball. So they are out there for hours, come back, it's dinner time, and she gets a phone call from her neighbor. Her neighbor wants to inform her that her sweet baby made the other neighbor cry. And so she said, okay, thank you. And then she went, of course, to her son and wanted to get to the bottom. Like, what happened? What was said? Why? And so as he's divulging the story, come to find out, her son told the little neighbor kid, you're annoying, you should go home. So this little boy ran home crying. So, I know. We've all been there, right? And that's what she ended up talking to him about. How would you feel if somebody told you that? And then as she kind of dug deeper, she found out people have said mean things to him on the playground because kids are mean, right? Yes. We've all said things to people. Our words matter. So it was just a really good lesson for her to help this young child recognize that words stick. And we need to be careful because our words can carry some weight, right? Jesus was a great example of using his words and being discerning in how he used his words. Jesus was able to use harsh words with religious leaders. And he was also able to use kind and compassionate words with those that were just wrapped up in sin. We're going to read in John 8. I'm going to read some verses 3 through 11. And I want you guys to know that this is an encounter that Jesus is met with a woman that's caught up in adultery. And there are some religious leaders there who are ready to literally kill her. So let's read verse 3. The scribes and the Pharisees brought a woman caught in adultery, having her set in the center of the court. And they said, "Teacher, this woman has been caught in adultery in the very act. Now, in the law of Moses commanded us to stone such woman. What do you say?" They were saying this, testing him, so that they might have grounds for accusing him. But Jesus stooped down with his finger and wrote on the ground. But when they persisted in asking him, he straightened up and said to them, "He who is without sin, let him be the first to throw a stone at her." And again, he stooped down and wrote on the ground. I have to wonder, what do you think Jesus was writing? This is in Christi's interpretation. Do you think he was writing all the sins of all these religious leaders? Because Jesus is God, right? He knew each and every one of their sins. Do you think that maybe one by one he just wrote it out? Let's see what happens. Verse 9. When they heard it, they began to go out one by one with the older ones, and he was left alone in the woman where she was in the center of the court. Straightening up, Jesus was like, "Woman, where are they? Did not one condemn you?" She said, "No one, Lord." And Jesus said, "I do not condemn you either. Go on now and sin no more." I'm so grateful that Jesus came to set us free. The world is very quick to cast those stones at us, right? But Jesus, he didn't act like she wasn't sinning. No, he was compassionate to her. He knew that she was caught up in sin. He knew that adultery was a sin. But while everyone else was ready to condemn her, he showed her compassion. I know that I can't be the only person in the room that has been known to criticize, right? Surely I'm not alone. Surely you've thought, I could do that better than them. I could have gone faster. I could have gotten a better grade, or they're doing that completely wrong. Now, I don't know if you guys have maybe ever driven down Sienna Parkway, or maybe if you've driven with me in the car, probably, definitely going to criticize one or more drivers driving down the parkway. I hate to say it, but I may say they are dumb multiple times as I'm driving the 1.5 miles that I have to go down Sienna Parkway, right? Have you guys ever worked in a group project? Yes, group projects. Oh, they're the worst, right? Guess what? That's life. We got to work with people. Sometimes those of you in the room may be overachievers, and maybe you get grouped with somebody that's not an overachiever, and they aren't pulling their weight. How many times have you felt like, oh, they're going to tank our grade, or they're going to screw up the presentation? No? Okay, so you guys are all the slackers in the room who have been those that, what? Oh, I know. I feel that pain, Stella. What about a teammate? Have you ever been on a team where maybe somebody is pulling you down, loses a game, and it's their fault? How many times have you wanted to be like, oh, if they just weren't on our team, if they were just better, if they were just this? Ugh. Am I the only guilty one in the room? Cool. It's fine. I'll pray for my sins. And your guys' sins of lying. Because we've all done it, right? So, okay, this one will probably get you. So, I'm a northerner by birth, right? What do you mean, boo? What? Okay, so at 18, I took my little northern self and I went down to the south to college. And now, when I went to the south, I was like, oh, I love the south. I love the smell of honeysuckle, and I love cherry blossoms. I love warm weather. I love southern hospitality. I was like, the South is great. I love it. Everyone's so sweet, the sweet southern accents. I'm like, man, it is so nice. And there's like so much more God around here. Everyone's talking about blessing each other. I'm like, this is great. Until it did not take me long to listen to context clues. So you guys say this little saying that is interesting to me as a northerner because we did not have this up north. But you guys would say, oh, Katie's back with her cheating boyfriend. Oh, bless her heart. Aw, David failed another test. Oh, bless his heart. Aw, Sarah locked her keys in her room again. Bless her heart. Guys, up north, you know what we say? You're dumb. Like, we just say it. But you guys, like, wrap it in, like, a Christianese something. And so, like, you're actually being mean, but it sounds kind of nice because it's like, a blessing is nice, but you're not actually being nice. I don't know if it's, like, the worst kept secret of the South, but that took some getting used to. And then with the southern accent, it like sounded really nice, but then you realize like I just got slapped in the face with a put down, but I didn't really realize it because it sounded really sweet. We know, we get it, right? So, you know, we're trying to dive into not just changing our words. Now, this whole series is my stupid mouth. And none of us have ever felt like that. None of us have ever said anything, right, as we've established. We can use our mouth to sometimes put our foot in it. But what we want to do is not just change the words that come out of our mouth, but we want to change the heart. Because those words stick and they pierce and they hurt. We want to... In order to change our heart, I should say, it's not something that we can do on our own. We need God. In Psalm 51:10, it says, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me." I don't want you guys just to clean up and not use cuss words when you come into church and say nicer things just because you're here. No, we want to change your heart. We want God to do a work in your heart so that, remember, out of the heart, the mouth speaks. So that's what we need to change is our heart. I will say, I want to read out of James. And I've got to say, if you've ever read James, I feel like he's a northerner because he tells it like it is. It is straightforward, hits you in the face with a 2x4. So I want to read from him and his wisdom and show you just how much weight your words can carry. James 3, 5 through 10, it says this. So also the tongue is a small part of the body, and yet it boasts of great things. See how great a forest is set aflame by such a small fire. And the tongue is a fire, the very world of iniquity. The tongue is set among our members as that which defiles the entire body, sets on fire the course of our life, and is set on fire by hell. For every species of beasts and birds, of reptiles and creatures of the sea is tamed and has been tamed by the human race. But no one can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil and full of deadly poison. Yikes, that's some tough language, James. Verse 9, with it we bless our Lord, and with it we curse men, who have been made in the likeness of God. So remember, when you're talking badly about somebody, that is God's creation. From the same mouth come both blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not to be. Man, what a great picture of just how big of an impact our words have, right? So it talks about just a small spark can set an entire forest on fire. So when you think about that, your words can eviscerate someone. It can tear them down. It can ruin their confidence. It can change the path that they're on. So if our words have that much power, like it says, James is very, very clear. It is a restless evil and full of deadly poison. So we need God. We need God to tame that, right? Because we can't do it on our own. But in the same vein, if our words have that much power to discourage, in the same vein, they can also encourage. Ephesians 4:29, I love how Paul writes, let no unwholesome word proceed from your mouth, but only such a word as is good for edification according to the need of the moment, so that it will give grace to those who hear. Okay, so I want to think about what our words can do. That word edification, in the original language, it means to build up, like constructing a house. So those of you who have eyes have seen that there's a building being built right next door, right? Yes, hopefully. What? I know. So this building, it first started with like strong iron trusses. So your words are like those. They can build up and set the stage for a building that will be here for years and years. Your words can do that in someone's life. I want you to think about that. Just by stepping out and encouraging someone, you can build them up and change their path. We might not always have the ability to be with someone their whole life, right? Sometimes people are just here for a season, but our words can stick with them for even a lifetime. So I know that in my own life, years ago, when I was in high school, I was a senior in high school, and my last 6 months before I graduated, we had a new youth pastor come. Now, typically, those seniors are like on their way out, don't really connect with the new guy, right? Well, that wasn't the case for me. I've literally modeled how I do ministry because of Pastor Jeff and Tina, his wife. They made such an impact on me. And so when I went away to college, I went to a Christian college, and that's where I really was discipled and learned how to walk with God. Because before that, like teenage Christi, like high school Christi, I did not have it all together. I didn't really have anyone teaching me how to walk with God and how to read the Bible and just how to live the Christian life. I didn't have that. So I kind of did a lot of dumb stuff. And Jeff was gracious when I came back my summer between my freshman and sophomore year, I went home for the summer. And I was so excited because I was learning how to walk with God. And that youth ministry was where I learned about God. And so I was so excited about it that I wanted to just share with teenagers. I had an excitement and a joy that I just wanted to pass on. And I didn't want anyone else to walk through the high school ministry and not know what to do. I wanted them to have somebody to guide them, and I wanted to guide them. I was just so excited. And I'm so grateful that Jeff saw stupid teenage me and saw that I had potential. Not only did he see that I had potential, but he told me I had leadership potential. And now, mind you, I knew how I messed up. I knew all my sins. And so I didn't look at myself as a leader, as I could ever be a leader in the church. Ironically, I ended up marrying a pastor. That was just God's sense of humor. But I didn't think that I could be a leader, but Jeff saw potential in me. Not only that, but he gave me the opportunity to come to camp with their middle schoolers and be a counselor. And that word of encouragement, that opportunity that he gave me, it literally changed the trajectory of my whole life. At that point, I was changing my major from my freshman to my sophomore year. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up, but I did know that some way, shape, or form, I wanted to work with teenagers and help them on their path. And to this day, still volunteering with teenagers. And we're just here to help you, to go over the bumps and the bruises, to help you figure out what God has in store for you. I'm so grateful that I had that in my own life. I just kind of want to close it out with a story about the 2016 Cavaliers. Now, if you guys know me at all, you know that all things Cleveland, that is my team. That's where I'm from. I grew up rooting for all the Cleveland teams. But if you know me really well, you know that I actually don't follow any sports very closely. I love the competition. I love the finals. I love the World Series. I love March Madness, the soccer World Cup, all that stuff. I like all the big stuff, but I don't actually follow teams, nor do I really know the rules to really any sport, all of the rules. I just know enough to get in trouble. So, 2016 NBA Finals. We're watching because at the time we lived in Columbus, and again, Cleveland Cavaliers are in the finals, and LeBron has come home. So, I have close ties to LeBron. My aunt taught him French, so just saying. LeBron did a lot for Northeast Ohio. It's a sad, sad place. So thank you, LeBron, for all that you have done. But the game. So again, we're watching it. We're excited. Everyone's excited that LeBron has come home for a time. But they're playing the Golden State Warriors, right? They're tied. It's tied game. At the end of the game, there's a few seconds left, and the Golden State Warriors put up a shot, and so now they're up. I don't know what happens, but one of the Cavs players has the ball and goes the opposite direction, doesn't shoot and try and tie it up and go in overtime, whatever. No, nothing. The buzzer goes off. Cavs lose the first game. I will say, end of the story, it's 2016, so if you don't know this, but the Cavs did win, so go Cavs. But I tell you this story to tell you that LeBron goes into a press conference and he has every opportunity to throw his teammate under the bus, right? Because it wasn't LeBron who lost the game. It was really this other teammate. And of course, in a press conference, what are the press asking? All they want to know, they want to hear LeBron throw his teammate under the bus. And so 7.5 minutes into this press conference, LeBron gets up, takes off his mic, walks out. Because why? He had his teammates back. He could have said whatever he wanted to, but no. He decided to shut it down and just leave rather than criticizing him. We all have our own team of supporters, right? It looks different for each of us. I'm so grateful for my team. Mark is my number one. He's such an incredible supporter of me and all that I do, all that I want to do. He's encouraging me to step into things. He's given me this opportunity to come share with you guys. I'm so grateful for him and his support. And my mom, shoot, if my mom was here, she would tell you I'm the best at everything there is. Now, newsflash, she's wrong, but I love her for feeling that way because she's my mom. And like as a mom, we get to think that about our kids. Our kids are the best at anything and everything that they do. I will say, I felt like I could do anything in life because of my mom's support. And I pray that I pass that on to my kids. So if you hear me at any of my kids' stuff, I'm real loud and obnoxious, but like my kids are awesome. But as a mom, I'm allowed to say that. My friends, I'm so grateful to be surrounded with some godly women that encourage me, that keep me accountable, that help me up when I stumble, that sharpen me. They're there through the thick and the thin, through the highs and through the lows to help me. And I'm so grateful for my youth pastor so many years ago who saw potential in me and told me. He used his words to help uplift me. I've had so many mentors and people that have discipled me throughout the years, and I'm so grateful for their encouragement and their words. There's a couple questions that I want you guys just to look over, some gut check questions that you guys, if you want to take out your phones, take a picture, think of these. Go over these questions. Look at these. Who's on your team? Who's encouraging you? Who's lifting you up? Who's pushing you? Who are you encouraging? I also want to just recommend, if you guys have somebody that is using their words to tear you down, that is always just naysayer, negative, never positive, never building you up, you guys might need to kick them off your team. Are you that person? Which one are you? Because remember, God is the one that's going to change our hearts. So if you've been that negative naysayer and you're tearing your friends down, your family down, that's okay. God has room for you. He can create in you a renewed spirit. He can clean out your heart. So you guys pray whatever you got to do to get to be encouraging, help lift each other up. And let's build each other up. Let's edify each other so that we can push our friends and our family, those in our circles, to great things. Let me pray for you. Heavenly Father, God, I just thank you for your word. I thank you that, God, you are big enough to take us and hear us and wipe us up when we are fallen and when we're steeped in sin. God, you don't condemn us, but God, you came to free us from that sin. If there's anyone here, God, that is struggling with something, God, I pray that they would lay it at your feet. Help them to come to you, to create a clean heart and renewed spirit, God. Help us to use our words to lift up, to encourage, and to edify each other. God, if we need help in this area, I pray that you would work on us. I pray that together as friends, we would sharpen each other. Use us to love and uplift each other. God, we love you and we thank you for all that you're doing and all that you've done. In your son's precious name, amen.